Um, I want to switch gears with you a little bit because a big part of your teaching, the book that you wrote, The Yielding Warrior, is about this concept of yielding. Do you mind if we switch gears and talk a little bit about this? I want to make sure that we clearly define for the audience what you consider yielding, because I think it starts with a concept in martial arts that you have been able to shift that perspective into the meditative arts. Is that right?
Yeah, yielding, the concept of yielding has been taught in the meditative and the martial arts for generations. It's something that I've has always inspired me because when I started doing some of the meditative practices in Tai Chi, we learn this way of training called push hands, where you'll work with a teacher and instead of forcing somebody to make something happen or to make a technique happen, you let them and kind of lead them and they fall into the hole effortlessly. And when I would see people at a high level before I understood what was going on do this, it almost looked fake. It looked like, how is he moving that guy? He's like 100 pounds bigger than him. So I was always intrigued by it. And that's why I really wanted to dive into that and understand it. And when I started studying yielding, I realized that it's not just about the physical movement, it's also how we use in our thoughts and our emotions and the way we live and how we interact with life. And so in my book, The Yielding Warrior, I talk about yielding and I break it down into three main pillars. There's the physical yielding, mental yielding, and emotional yielding. Physical yielding is the idea that, I'm pushing you, you push me, whoever's the bigger, stronger person with the most leverage eventually is going to push the other person over. But with yielding, instead of us trying to see who the bigger meathead is, when you push me, I get out of the way of that force. And so now I can respond with less effort. I can lead you down a path where I don't have to butt heads with you and see if I'm bigger and stronger than you. And that's how, through generations, you've heard stories about smaller guys defeating bigger guys because of this concept. And now there's I'm sure you've probably heard of the Gracie family in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Helio Gracie was only 139 pounds, and he was known sometimes for beating guys 100 pounds bigger than him. And it wasn't by overpowering him, it was by understanding yielding, understanding leverage and frames and combinations and how to put all this stuff together. And so, in order to be good at this physical yielding, a lot of things have to come into play. You need to be well rooted. The lower part of your body needs to be strong and flexible so you can change your central equilibrium without getting tight. The body has to be relaxed. The mind has to be present. The breath has to be calm and even. And all of these things take years and years and a lifetime to really master. However, from day one, by integrating a meditation practice into your life, you start seeing these things with more clarity, not only in yourself, but also in other people. And this is where we start moving now into what I call mental yielding. So, say, for example, you and I are having a conversation, and I say something that unsettles you. And I pick up on it from the first sign of imbalance. Maybe you adjust, or you get a little tense in the body, or you change your breath, or subtle changes in your facial expression or the tone of your voice. If I can pick up on that from that first sign of imbalance, a lot of times it's easier to adjust the conversation and keep us on a harmonious path than if I'm not paying attention to that. And pretty soon I'm so far off track, you want to knock me upside the head. And so learning how to use yielding in all of our interactions is extremely powerful. One, we're being more considerate, which is something that we could all do more of. And two, it allows us to be strategic so we can guide conversations to a positive outcome with the least amount of resistance. And this is helpful in our relationships, in business and sales and negotiations. I mean, there's so many different ways we can apply this idea, and it all comes with our overall awareness of uh, not only how we are coming across, but also how other people are taking what we're saying. And so mental yielding is very interesting and can be a lifelong study as well.